Good morning, everybody, and welcome once again to a slightly festive Sunday Q&A. Later than normal, on account of the fact that normally I record it and then stick it up on a Sunday morning, but I've been flat out, so I'm recording it on a Sunday morning, which means it'll get up as soon as YouTube gets around to doing its upload speed thing. I worked yesterday in the lorry. It's the Janet and John version, is you kind of do 5 days on and 2 days off, but the even still Janet and John version, you can do 1 day a weekend every other weekend, I think. I'll find out unless I've got an infringement on my car, but I didn't when I checked it yesterday. Without having to pay hours back, and I will go into this as soon as I will do a video on it, but I want to actually make sure I've got it right myself, which I probably still won't. Or at least 99% right myself before I put it up. But again, I'm sure you'll tell me all about it. It's to do with you can use time without borrowing time back, and you can do it every 2 weeks, but you can actually do it every 4 weeks, but then it gets really complicated. But yeah, long and short of it is I've got a job yesterday morning, and then of course, slightly festive. We've got the lights on, which turns out takes ages. We've not done this one before. We normally have a big Christmas tree from Jerry around the corner from the Travellers, who's lovely, but instead this year we have Jose the Christmas cactus, because the missus decided for her 50th birthday she wanted a cactus. Big old boy. So we put lights around it. Hope he doesn't mind. Anyway, enough about me. Let's get on to business at hand. So basically it's an introduction. Last week Charles Moore says, "Cool, Peter." He didn't say cool. He said that video was long. Yes. But no mid-roll ads. I've got rid of the mid-roll ads. I've solved that problem. Today's probably going to be even longer. There's a fast-forward button. Please feel free to break it or just stop. Tivioso Cornwall says, "Sorry about the question and the backlash, and thanks for all the advice, mate. You know, it's a lesson in YouTube for me. I kind of, hopefully we've all managed to move on again. I'm sorry too, but hey, it's not your fault. It's what I've done, but don't worry. And again, thanks for all the support. Oh, and I also really like Godzilla's comment. He says, "Don't apologise for helping people, you plum." And then he goes on to stuff about a walk round. He says, "Right now, we're on a proper business now." He said, "The walk round in the morning," and Lee Allen agrees, "is 15 minutes. That's how long they want you to wait in your van in the morning." He says, "You never need to scrape the screen. It's always toasty, it's always toasty in the van because the engine's been running for 15 minutes." And the 56 mile an hour thing, someone else said about this later, we'll come back to this, because lorries are limited to 56 mile an hour, is due to the EU, because it's supposed to be 90k. 56 miles an hour is 90k, which presumably is what they're limited to in Europe. Once again, probably wrong there. He said, but even the maths don't work on that, because 56 mile an hour isn't 90k. So the whole thing's a mystery, mate. I just know if I put my foot on the accelerator pedal, it doesn't go any faster than 56. So you know to work around these things, don't you? So yeah, right. So the big one this week, which I said was a bit of turn up for me, was this Circuit Multidrop thing, which like I said, these guys have approached me, and I've had a quick look at it, and I'm still looking at it, and I still think it's very good. But I'm not Mr. Multidrop, as I say. So I wanted to talk to you guys and get your feedback, and your feedback seems to be pretty universal. Basically, you all think it's really good, but a little bit dear. So let's just go through that one, okay? Craig Stern Clark says he's been using it for the last month, so he got there before I did, and he said you're spot on with your thoughts. It's brilliant. Would like it to be cheaper. He says it optimises and rearranges easily. Yes, it does that, yes. It prioritises certain drops. Yeah, that's something I didn't get onto, which I probably will do when I do the actual app itself. But if, for example, you've got a drop that needs to be there at 11 o'clock in the morning, you can put in 11 o'clock in the morning, and when it optimises, it'll put that one at 11. It won't stick it in. Even if you're around the corner from it at 9 o'clock, it knows you've got to be there at 11. It won't. It's great. And also, say, for example, if a place is shut between 1 and 2, you can tell it that. So I used to get that with fridges. Cannot deliver between 1 and 2. And sometimes I'd get there at 1:15 and go, if I've been here 15 minutes later, I never didn't get them off. But I thought, I've been sitting here for an hour. That's good, isn't it? I did have one once where I got to my first job at 7 o'clock in the morning. The place didn't open until 10. That was the first one I did in the 7.5, and the last one I ever did in the 7.5 as well. But yeah, it can do that as well. Again, he said he'd rather not £20. He said rather £1 a day. Although if you're using it every day, that would work out dearer. But I guess if you're not always using it, maybe. But yeah, but I think he general consensus. He says good. Giles Rowbottom. He says yeah, this is the thing that we come at. He says, if you use the free version, you can put in 10 stops at a time. It doesn't work. Because if you've got 20 stops and you put in 10 stops and you go boom, 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 and then you put in the next 10 stops and one of them turns out to be next door to stop number 2 you did on the last round, you go, if you've got more than 10 stops, you need to have more than 10 stops. So it's a nice idea, but it doesn't work. Derek McDonald, he said, it's really easy to use. Oh yeah, and also he said it has an ETA for every drop, which is dead handy as well. So you go, well, what? So if someone says, well, you know, you're on drop 20 now, what time do you reckon you'll be halfway through? So you've got 100 drops, you can go, drop 50, oh, 1+1. You know, it's good. It's very good. Lee Allen says, Derek McDonald, pricey. The guys, I'm sure they're listening. Lee Allen says, I hate mega multi-drops. You and me both, mate. That's why I got in a truck. Well, in fairness, I got in a truck, so you just like trucks. But Just Driving, this is unfirm. He said, we use the app extensively. You can download routes. He said, you can download routes from the CSV, but you have to be a bit techie. Best on the market, a bit pricey. I don't know what the CSV is. I do know, again, it's something else I haven't touched on, but I probably will do when I do the app, that if you can... That's the cat. If you've got a spreadsheet, so say, for example, the work firm goes, right, there's your stuff for the day, and I don't quite know how this works, you can download the spreadsheet onto your app and it just goes, which is really cool. It doesn't make that noise, I make that noise, but... Mayhem. Trying to make a video here. Yeah, again, that's something I'll have to master before I get the hang of, but it's good. Yeah, again, what we got, EOS best on the market, Bow House is best on the market for optimising routes. Van on the Run says, sound good apart from the price. He says, oh yeah, this is true as well. He says, people are comparing it to, like, some people are comparing it to TomTom and Google Maps. But Google Maps and TomToms don't optimise, they're not route optimisers. And RBD says all good but the price. So the long and the short of it is, it strikes me that it is the best on the market. It may be dearer than you want to pay. Yeah, Google's great, but the thing is with Google, if you want to do 10 drops, you can tell it to do 10 drops, but you will tell it what order to do the 10 drops in. Google won't go, how do you fancy changing these around a bit? God, I wish it did. I wish Waze did. For these route optimizer apps, like the one that I had before, you put in all the drops and then it works out the order you put them in, and I guess that's what you pay for. And I think there's two things I can glean from this. Firstly, it's the free version of it is better than the free version of the one that I've previously been advertising, because A, it's much, much, much easier to use, B, it's got a load more features, and C, you can have another 2 stops for free. So even if you want a free one that's less than 10 drops, it's the one to have. So it's better than the one I'm currently recommending. The second thing I will say is, yes, it's dear, but then when I did the interview with the guy, and I'm talking it up a bit, I know, but I said to him, when he turned around and told me how much, I went, that's a bit much, isn't it? And he said, yeah, we get that a lot. He says, but everybody who uses it says it's worth it. And the way I look at this is like, if you break it down, if it's 20 quid a month, that works out, I worked it out to about 66p a day. So it's that utility thing, isn't it? It's like, I've got 2 pairs of boots, and I've got one pair of boots I think cost me £1, and the other one cost me, the Timberland Bros, cost me over £1.50. But the only 2 pairs of shoes I ever wear in the world ever are these. If it's winter, I've got the big ones. If it's summer, I've got the small ones. If I'm working all the time, Monday to Friday, I'm in the boots. Saturday morning, you stay in the boots. Then doing the trucks, doing the oil, doing the water, I'm in the boots. And then the boots by the front door. Peter, can you go down the shop, go and get a Chinese? Stick the boots on. I've got trendy pairs of shoes in my cupboard that probably cost the same kind of money as those boots. Never wear them that much. So the way I look at it is, you might go, well, it's 66p a day, and then go and buy yourself a Costa. Still can't get mad around that. I'm with the flasks. But and it's up to you guys. All I will say is, I'm going to be plugging it on the feedback of what I've done and what you guys have told me. Thanks very much. And I'm going to plug it on no other reason than if you want a free one for less than 10 drops, it's the best out there. And also, by the sounds of things, I think it's worth it. So that's enough about them. I will do a video on it probably in the new year, I should think. I might get around to doing it this week, but Christmas is coming. Jose is it the same as a tree? I'm not sure. Right, I did one on different van sizes. Yorkshireman's Daily Grind says he's often wondered if a long wheelbase would be better. Now, this is a good point he made that I hadn't picked up on. He said it's the most frequent job on the CX. At one stage, it was small van. But then I think what seems to have happened is a lot of people who used to put jobs on as Luton jobs and then got tired of paying Luton prices have gone to like long wheelbase jobs. So you could, if you'll get to do more jobs maybe. If you're in a small van, you go up to a long wheelbase, you can park it on your driveway. Don't know, mate. At the end of the day, the van choice is down to you. Giuseppe Banera says, so you haven't done one on a 4.7 tonne jumbo van? Now, they do exist. I know the LTs used to do an LT45, which is 4.5 tonne. When I was doing the markets, I actually had a postal van, which was like a 5 tonne van. The thing with them is they seem to be, particularly in our game, is kind of the worst of both worlds. Because unless you've got something very specific, unless, for example, you need to do, like the post do maybe, you need to do runs in rural areas where you don't really want to put a 7.5 tonne truck through because it's too big, but the post is too heavy. It's like a Luton-sized van that will carry 7.5 tonne. But you just lose all the time in our game. It's like, well, can you get 8 pallets on it? No. Can you get a 6 metre bed on it? No. Do you need an operator to drive it? Yes. Are you still under driver's hours? Yes. So I mean, it's really, I do think. Also, some of the long wheelbases and I have known of Luton vans. And don't get me wrong, these guys done them especially. I met one guy once. I think he spent £20,000-30,000 on his van, but it had a sleeper cab. It was aluminium. It'd been made super strong, super light. He said that van will carry 2 tonne. And he said it weighed, and he was proper. He'd been in the game a long time, and I believe it can happen. I remember my mate Colin, I once gave me, through the exchange, a 2 tonne job in a Luton. I said, Colin, I can't do 2 tonnes in a Luton. He said, I don't think there's a Luton on the planet that can do tonnes. He says, we've got one that can. So it is possible. It would be better to try to get yourself a modern, mind you, you've got to spend that sort of money, get yourself a modernised van. But no, I personally think anything between 3.5, once you go over the Luton, you want to be in a 7.5 tonne. You want to be in and I don't recommend either the sort of the Isuzus or the Mitsubishis. If you're going to get yourself a 7.5 tonne, get a proper one. Get a baby lorry. Get a DEF. Get a Merc. Because then you've got the big curtains. You've got the 2.5 metre clearance on the side. You've got the 6 metre beds. There's work there. There's money there. If you're going to go for it, I would say if you're going to go for it, get an 18 tonne. And that's what I'm working my way up into. But it's just, again, like I say, choice is yours, guys. What we got? Steve at STC Services said 1,500 kilos is bad advice. Fair enough. He said 1,200 kilos max in diesel in a long wheelbase. He's right. I mean, like I said, there are vans out there that will do it, but the best thing you can do is weigh your van. When your van is empty, put all your kit in, put your sack barrier in, put your pallet truck in if you've got one, fill it full of diesel, drive it onto a weighbridge and sit in a driver's seat, and then you'll know what you can carry kosher. You know, if your van weight is your maximum van weight is 3,500 kilos, and with you and the diesel and everything in it, your van weighs 2,700 kilos. You can carry 800 kilos. That's it. The one thing you might want to bear in mind is, if you've got to pick up at 900 kilos and you look at your fuel gauge and your fuel gauge is low, you might go, okay, as long as I don't fill it full of diesel, I might be all right. But that's on your head, you know. So it's trying to be responsible, guys. No one wants a tug. No one wants getting hurt here. So right. Oh yes, another one coming onto it. What about a Luton van or a long wheelbase with a twin axle? Do I need to, he said, the guy said, I think I got confused. Do you need to change all the tyres at the same time at the back? You only need to change a tyre when it's when it needs changing, basically. I'm not quite sure what it is. I think in a normal van it's 2.5 millimetres, in the lorry it's 1 millimetre. It's ludicrously low, but you'd be crazy to do that. I'll try and change mine at 3. But yeah, no, you only need to change the wheels that need changing. Just drive it to the tyre place, get them to check it out. They'll work out ones which need changing, and they will change them. There's also, did someone else say about can long wheelbase vans carry more weight? If they don't, let me come back to that one. Right, so yeah, just change the wheels you need to change. It might have been you actually. Do Luton vans carry more weight? Now, ironically enough, it's the other way round. That if you've got a Luton van with a twin wheelbase at the back, although that spreads the weight better, so theoretically it should be able to manage the weight better, because you've now got 2 extra tyres and a heavier axle on it, it now weighs more, so therefore the amount of weight that you can carry is less. This is another reason why I like the Sprinters, it's because they've only got a single axle at the back, so therefore that takes away 2 tyres. And tyres weigh a fair bit, 2 wheels rather, they weigh a fair bit. On the flip side of things, Mercedes do over-engineer their vans. It's like, why use 1 bolt when 6 will do the same job? Because 6 is heavier than 1. But is what it is. Right, Lewis Gates. But he says there's plenty of Christmas jobs coming out of Portsmouth. I want to big up the long wheelbase crew. Do you find that time is not your own once you're on a loading bay? God, yes. Painful. You're back on the loading bay. The light goes red. That's it. Could be there 15 minutes. Could be there 2 hours. Walking into the office going, anything happening with my load? Think they've got it off? Any chance they might check it to make sure it's all right so I can leave? Yeah, that's one of the not so fun bits about being in a lorry, because once you're there, you're stuck. And although you will get waiting time, you won't get anything for the first hour, and the second hour is 40 quid an hour, which is kind of nice. But if you're there for 2-3 hours and it puts the kibosh in your second job, it can really mess up your day, which is why I like to start early. Matt Hodges, he says, often sees a guy on the A1 in a low loader Luton with a trailer, which will give him a train weight of 5 to 7 tonne. I've never liked trailers, unless you're going to do an Arctic. I just find them complicated to reverse, and how are you going to load them? So I've got to load this one, I've got to unhinge this one, I've got to load this one, I've got to unhinge this, I've got to hook this one back up again. It's just easy to drive and get it in the back and get out again, but I'm sure the guy's probably a professional, he's probably got a set job and he knows what he's doing, so I'll look out for him anyway, Matt. And DTH Transport says, he's in a medium wheelbase Sprinter, he's charging 90 to £1 a mile and he's getting £40 minimum. This is BTH Transport. Mate, that's good money. You're doing well there. Like I say, everyone gets different. Well, I mean, I remember when I started again with Tony, and I would tell Tony what I was quoting, and he kept going, "You're too cheap." He said, "I'm quoting this, I'm quoting that," and I go, "You're Tone, but." I said, "But I'm quoting, I'm not getting them." The long and the short of it is, he said, "I'm quoting more." He said, "I bet you win a lot more jobs than I do." So chances are, I was winning more jobs, but he was getting more money per job. Which is the best way of doing it? I don't know. I don't know. Tony done all right, so, but I was happy enough. Anyway, right, that's on the van sizes now. How much to get started? This is Gardening with Ray. Hello, Ray. How you doing? He says, thanks for the video, because he's thinking about it. Okay, yeah, long and short of it, I think that's about right. ZLY6230. He said, right, if you're buying a van, he says you should look on the last minute auctions. I think he means eBay. He said he bought a VW long wheelbase 14 plate for 3,800. He said the owner was upgrading his fleet. eBay is good for vans. It's kind of Gumtree. Well, for lorries, it's where I go. I think Gumtree and eBay talk to each other or something like that. And if you type in LF-DAF 450 7.5 or CF 18 tons, there's quite a few on them, and they are just listed there, but they're just listed prices from dealers. But I do find it is quite a good place to see. I think a lot more people put the vans on eBay than they do on the Auto Trader, because the Auto Trader, it costs you to list, and eBay it doesn't. I think, again, me and the online thing, it's all news to me. John Franklin, would you recommend a newbie? What would you recommend for a newbie? He's tramping. I think he's out of Donington in a medium wheelbase. Yeah, mate, you'll get more money tramping, because your second job or your third job of the day in a van, you kind of want to take you home. If you're tramping, your third job of the day can take you anywhere. As long as you don't go to ridiculous areas, or if you go to ridiculous areas, get paid well for it, you've got much more chance of getting your third job in. Yeah, you can. I mean, it's sort of, yeah, you can make money. Give it a bash. See which way, try an error, see which way works for you. Hopefully one way will. So, right, we're on the miscellaneous. I should have cut this in 2 halves. There's loads here. Tell you what, Sunday Q&A in 2 parts. I'll stick this one up for you now, and I'll do the other one as miscellaneous questions. In the meantime, See you in a bit. Take care, take money.